My father's death was ruled an accident. 12 years later, I found the island where he really died.
Curtis West never expected his life to change the day he stepped into the stiff, formal law office to hear his Uncle Jerome's will. He had barely spoken to Jerome in 12 years, yet the attorney revealed that Jerome left him a fully equipped yacht and a massive inheritance on one condition. Curtis had to sail alone to a set of coordinates far out in the Atlantic within 30 days. Confused, he opened the letter Jerome left, which said the coordinates would lead him to an island not found on any map, and that powerful people were watching it. Jerome claimed Curtis's father had been murdered for discovering the truth about a Navy project gone wrong. Curtis didn't know whether to believe it, but he couldn't ignore the connection to his father's mysterious boating accident. He drove to his truck, opened the letter again, and reread the confession that Jerome had been running for years. The thought of a hidden island and a government cover-up felt impossible, but his father's death never made sense either. When Curtis reached the yacht, he found advanced equipment, encrypted hard drives, and a gun. The hard drives contained redacted documents, photographs, and notes explaining that 17 sailors died during a secret sonar experiment decades earlier. His father had been a civilian contractor on the project and had started collecting proof before his boat exploded. Jerome had continued the investigation and believed he was being hunted. Curtis prepared the yacht and planned to leave quietly. A woman named Diane appeared, claiming she worked with Jerome and warning him about a man named Craig Lucas from a private military contractor that cleaned up government mistakes. Curtis didn't know whether to trust her but sensed she wasn't lying. He left at dawn, heading into the open Atlantic. After days at sea, nothing appeared on the horizon until the radar picked up a landmass that he couldn't see with his eyes. Slowly, a shimmering island materialized, revealing concrete bunkers and abandoned equipment. Curtis anchored and stepped onto the island, documenting everything he saw. Inside the crumbling bunker, he found old rooms, broken devices, and scattered personal items that looked untouched for decades. In a deeper chamber, he found 17 skeletons wearing Navy uniforms. The reality of the cover-up overwhelmed him. Suddenly, he heard the sound of an approaching boat and spotted armed men landing on the island. Curtis hid while they swept through the bunker. He found a concealed panel containing a waterproof case with a USB drive, a special satellite phone, and a final note from Jerome. Realizing the men were Sentinel Solutions operatives, he slipped out a back exit, ran across the rocks, and jumped off a cliff into the water. He swam under gunfire, reached the yacht, fought the guard on board, and escaped, racing toward the shipping lanes until the attackers turned back. Exhausted, bleeding, but alive, he reached Brunswick, Georgia, and hid in a motel. When he opened the USB drive, he found detailed evidence of the entire project, including logs proving the sonar had liquefied the brains of the sailors trapped underwater. There were files proving the Navy paid witnesses to stay quiet and ordered hits on anyone who threatened to expose the truth. Jerome and Curtis's father had been two of those targets. Curtis called the number on Jerome's encrypted phone and reached Dr. Stoyart Kleen, an engineer who had worked on Ghostlight. Kleen arrived and confirmed everything Curtis had found. Together they formed a plan to expose the truth. They recruited Diane and a brilliant hacker named Devin to release the information everywhere at once. After 2 sleepless days preparing the files, they launched the public data release. Every major news outlet picked up the story within minutes. Government agencies scrambled. Sentinel Solutions panicked. Craig Lucas vanished underground. Within days, Congress demanded answers. Former Navy personnel stepped forward. The Department of Defense opened investigations. A Navy admiral eventually admitted the truth publicly, acknowledging the 17 deaths and announcing an inquiry into the cover-up. The FBI raided Sentinel's offices and arrested several operatives, including Lucas, who faced charges for assault and conspiracy. Curtis watched as decades of lies began to crumble. Jerome was finally honored for his work. The Navy recovered the bodies from the island and buried the sailors with full honors. Curtis and his allies scattered Jerome's ashes at sea, giving him a peace he never had in life. Curtis received compensation for his father's death and used part of it to start a maritime safety organization named after his father. He restored the Meridian Queen and used it to investigate environmental violations and maritime crimes. Diane joined the team, and Devon secured their digital operations. Clean helped them analyze new evidence that surfaced after the Ghostlight exposure. More stories emerged, revealing deeper layers of the Navy's secret experiments. Curtis realized he had stepped into a world his father tried to expose and that Jerome wanted him to finish. Months later, Curtis sailed the Meridian Queen again, feeling a purpose he had never known before. He knew there would always be another secret buried somewhere in the world and more powerful people trying to hide it. He thought of his father's phrase, honest work, and realized exposing the truth was now his work. The island that never appeared on official maps had changed his life forever. He no longer ran from danger, he followed it. And every time the yacht cut through the waves, Curtis knew he was honoring both his father and his uncle by refusing to let the truth be buried again.